In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you probably the best advice that I can give you from my own personal experience as to what you can do to avoid the biggest mistakes that anybody can in their career, especially in the world of sales in the tech industry. And there's a lot of other videos out there that you can watch that talks about like 10, 15, 20, 30 tips, 41 tips, and then all this other stuff. The truth is your brain can only hold so much information. And the tip that I can share with you to get everything that you want out of this industry or in any industry in life is really manifesting the right team leader for you instead of going for the company with the big shiny logo or going for the big paychecks. The YouTube videos that are optimized for views out there really focus when we're talking about tech sales is how to go ahead and break into these big shiny logos like the Salesforce, the HubSpots, the AWS, anything that's got a big shiny logo from a name brand that you most likely are going to have the app of on your standard smartphone is a lot of times what people are trying to go for in their career because they think that if they get into this type of company, they're going to be able to go ahead and make more money. They're going to get more recognition. They are going to be able to have more opportunities thrown their way. It puts them in this position where, they have leverage. They have some degree of control over a very chaotic economy right now. And the other thing here is they manifest money, which is like, well, if I make more money, I will have a certain degree of control. Like I will have like more cash to come in, reinvest in my sales training, reinvest in myself, take on other programs, get other certifications. And with that, with that added amount of money, I could go out there and probably acquire new skills if I want to break into other fields as well. And sometimes they're thinking that if they get both, if they get the high paying sales job at a really big company, it could also transition them into other opportunities beyond and outside of tech sales, right? So they can go into like product management, they can go into like sales operations or revenue ops or anything like that. Basically, you want leverage. If you want all of that, let me go ahead and share this with you in the shortest amount of time possible. Everything that you want is going to come down to you having the right manager. It is not impossible for you to succeed, which means it is not impossible for you to make a lot of money in tech sales. It's not impossible for you to get the job that you ultimately want. I don't think tech sales is a forever job. I think that most jobs right now, it's just really a stepping stone to get to a much better place that you may not even realize yet. And some people kind of know that. Like, I don't know what's after this. I just know I want to do this for a certain amount of time. I'm going to acquire a certain amount of skills, and I'm going to move on to doing something else. And that's totally fine, right? If you have the right manager, you're going to have all of those things. And let me clarify what the right manager is. The right manager, most people think about team leaders as high performers and rainmakers. Those might not be, I would not always say that those people are the best managers because I've met a lot of sales managers in tech who were rainmaking closers, but they sucked at managing people. I've also met a lot of sales managers that didn't put up the biggest numbers. They were consistent. They obviously hit certain targets and quotas consistently to be able to put them in that position because you can't exactly help other people if you haven't demonstrated some degree of success yourself. But they were way better managers in terms of developing that next generation of rainmakers than the actual rainmakers themselves. That's a fact. So you want to manifest the right person for you. And let me go ahead and give you like even more clarity to it. If you're on an interview and they're telling you in a standard sales interview, you're selling them on you that you can go ahead and do this job, but most salespeople do not take the time because they don't have any other options. And this is why I'm going to go out there and overtly give our program a shout out. Call us and join our program because you need options. Too many people think that they can just get a sales job, and most of the times they're taking the first offer while our people have multiple offers, and then they end up losing 13 months of their life in a company that was the wrong place for them. Even if it was a good place to work at, it could have been the absolute wrong place for them to work at. Don't do that to yourself. Ask very good questions. Interview them just like they're interviewing you. Okay, you're telling me I have to hit this quota. What are all the activities I need to go ahead and do to actually hit this quota? if they don't have clear responses, if you're wondering what you need to do when you wake up, when you're wondering like, oh shit, my morning just flew by, and you're stressing out about how you're going to hit numbers on the weekend, you're at the wrong company. You need to call us. We need to get you out of there. We need to put you into a better company. That is just a fact. I see so many people that are trying to figure it out. If you're spending that much time trying to figure out how to do your job correctly, you might as well just start your own business. I mean, what the hell are they paying your manager to do, right? You have to go out there and get in touch with the right manager, because the right manager is going to have a high producing team. And the right manager is going to go ahead and have a good team of people to go ahead and work with. They've figured out a way to sell the product, and they're good at solving problems. And that also means that they're good at developing you into where it is that you want to be next in your career. So the goal, obviously, a lot of people are like, well, obviously I want a good manager. It's like, no. But most people are always thinking, they say that, but what their mind is focused on is big fancy logo, great commission structure. Just understand this. If your target is, your legitimate target in your heart of hearts is a good manager, the right manager for you, you're going to get everything else. It doesn't even matter what the offer is. So if I was to boil down a decade of experience, I'm going to tell you that that's what it comes down to. Because having the career that I've had, I could tell you this. Once you pass your first 13 months, you'll start getting offers from LinkedIn, from other companies. And you'll start seeing your friends take jobs at other companies, and you'll see how it is that they do. You don't need 10 years to see this. You only really need about 24, 36 months. And I'm going to tell you, the people that went far always had good managers. And how you get good managers is actually by, Rich, how do you do that? Joining our program, because you're going to need a network. You need to have actual insight into, inside intelligence from real people that have worked at those companies, where they can tell you this is how they operate, and you can determine whether or not that situation is going to work out for you. If you don't have that insider intelligence, you have to rely on Glassdoor. And Glassdoor is highly unreliable when it comes down to what is the culture for a particular type of team. In tech, there's some companies, it's great to be a software engineer there. It is absolutely horrible to work in sales. It is great to work in sales there. It is absolutely horrible to be a software engineer there. It's great to be a software engineer there, but it's not great working there as a product manager. You don't have enough data. You want to know where you can get that data? Is if you're part of the Elevate family, and we had 6 people working at that company, and they're like, oh yeah, this is the reason why, blah, 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 blah. This place is a great place to work at. And you might be wondering, well, why doesn't everybody just work there? You have to go ahead and decide whether or not that's the right place for you to work at. I saw people in my past 10 years go one company, flop, go to another company, soar, and vice versa. I've seen one person take flack for a year, go to another company, completely rise, myself included. There were companies that I worked at in the sales capacity in the tech industry where I was not the best person. I was really struggling, and the grit in me was like, I'm going to figure it out. And then when I realized the definition of insanity was doing it over, same shit over and over again, expecting a different result, and I mustered up the courage to go somewhere else, boom, I just saw my career take off. So it's easy in this age, especially if you're in the toxic environment, to think that, if I was to give out any other tip, this goes back to the manager, that I must be doing something wrong. It's me. I'm fucking up. No, you're a manager. Your manager's responsibility is to make sure you're successful, especially if you're coming in saying, I'm ready to do everything that I'm willing to do to become successful. I've seen a lot more people that are actually willing to do the work, but they just don't know what they need to do, versus on the other side is a lot of managers are just bad. And, final tip of the day is not every company has a good management training program. Most companies actually don't. Something that I learned from one of my companies very early on was I had a VP that said, our sales training program here is top notch. But I'm going to be real with you, after a few drinks in, our sales management program here is hot garbage. But here's the good news. I went from like, oh, yay, oh, no, to like, how am I supposed to feel next? But luckily, you have a really good manager. And that's actually kind of the reason why I was able to succeed. So stop trying to figure out how to do this yourself. It's already August in the year. September's coming around the corner, and then it's going to be Christmas and the holidays, and it's going to be a brand new year. Let's get you into the right company with the right manager so you can finally go ahead and actually take your career to where it needs to be, making the amount of money you should be. All right, talk to you later.